Welcome to Leader Transformation Club podcast. This is Mohammed Belyamani. Leader Transformation Club or LTC podcast is a book club based podcast. The question in this podcast is which books and how can leaders approach them to transform themselves and their organization or their environment to make a real change. In this first podcast, we have our guest Hisham Swilmy tackling the book Digital Minimalism by Carl Newport. Hisham Swilmy is a co-founder of this podcast, and he is digital product owner strategist. Welcome, Hisham, with us in this first podcast.
Hello, welcome. Hello, everybody. Hi, Mohammed. Thank you very much to invite me for the first podcast. And I'm very happy to share with you on all the audience my insights about digital minimalism by Carl Newport.
Thank you, Hisham, and thank you for the initiative taking this first podcast and presenting this book. All of the team of this podcast are really appreciating your initiative. So let's introduce the book and let's give us kind of a brief introduction about the author of the book.
Yeah, for sure. So the book, the author, it's Carl Newport. His real name is Calvin C. Newport. It is an associate professor of computer science at Georgetown University, and is the author of six self-improvement books. That's all those books are very interesting. He also writes the Study Hacks blog. It is a blog focused on academic and career success. And I really encourage all the people here to subscribe to this blog because it is very interesting. And on this blog, you have also different ideas about digital minimalists too. So there are a few books named How to Win a College, Deep Work, great book, and So Good They Can't Ignore You. Why Skills Trump Passion in the Guest for Work You Love. So he wrote six interesting books, and is a professor too.
Interesting. Do you see any link between those books?
Yes, Mohammed. I see a real link between these books. Those books are really about how you manage your life, how you can focus on your work. And I was very intrigued when I discovered this author. And it was when I read Deep Work, Rules for Focused Success in a Distracted World. It was really a shock, Mohammed, because after reading this book, I changed my way, how I work every day, how I manage my task, how I focus in the different projects I do. It is a great book. And but the main link between all those books are how you manage the technology in your life.
Impressive. Knowing that the technology we have now, it's play a big role in distracting our focus and distracting our work, distracting our family and the relationship and social. We need really to be careful, and we need kind of a process to manage how we can deal with this technology in our life.
Yeah, and if I can just add a last important idea about deep work that we just find the same idea in Digital Minimalist too. It is that people who want really to do great things, to do some great projects, personal, who want to do a great visual works or any works. People who want to achieve a great success need to find the way to manage all those distractions. And this is the reason why you need to be focused. You need to be focused, and you need to manage all those technologies.
Interesting. So regarding the book we have in hand in this podcast, what is the big idea of minimalism, digital minimalism?
Yeah, Mohammed, the big idea of this book is really that that minimalism is I can say that it's the art of knowing how much is just enough. You know, digital minimalism applies this idea to our personal technology. It's the key to living a focused life in an increasingly noisy world. But in this timely and enlightening book, Cole Newport introduced a real philosophy for technology use that has already improved countless lives of many people. And really, the big idea about this digital minimalist, it is to create a new way to manage the personal technology each day.
And then when you talk about managing, is it more to reduce the technology room that we have in our life, or is it to coexist and to live with it and to leverage it and to get it empowering our focus in our life?
Yeah, you're right. It's a very interesting question. By digital minimalism, Cole Newport tried just to express that we need to reduce the amount using of the technology. And it's not balancing or try to manage the technology during all the day. It is really to reduce that. And okay. I'm going to point that after during a discussion. They are real. That's very interesting. You just share the different ways that you can accomplish that. But there are a real methodology that he explained with many examples, scientific studies, and after he just explained in the second part of the book the best practices to adopt.
Okay. So the main idea is to reduce the room that the technology takes from us and from our life and from our time.
Exactly.
So what are the underneath elements or ideas that nurture this why this approach to reduce and how this approach to be implemented, or any sub ideas that he used to build his arguments, kind of thing?
Yeah, the case elements that he used that you need to find a quiet movement. It is the main idea that he tried to introduce. It is that you need to turning off notifications.
Okay.
I think I just take an example. Because it is a key element of the book, you need to it's very important to turn off notification or occasional how I can say rituals, like observing something like a digital Shabbat. Mm-hmm. And it's very important. And after you need to have like the other key element that I can say, it is that you need to have a method to decide what tools to use for what purposes and under what conditions.
Okay.
And
the question I have here, do we really need a methodology and process to do that? Is it really hard for people? What makes that hard for people to do that? So we need some process and methodology in order to do that.
Yes, it's very important because we need a lot of people going to say are going to ask about that. Why we need a process again in a personal life, like in the business context, like in the daily work. But the process for Core Newports to start a process, so to have a framework, it is to just get the better habits about that, just to get some new habits.
Okay.
The process is not going to be permanent, but there is different time, and after you're going to take the habits, and after it's going to be easy to do that. After 2 months, 3 months, it's going to be a real habit.
Interesting. It's like to transform by having the awareness, using the technology and reduce it in our life.
Exactly.
And having so we can embed it as a habit in our life, so it will be kind of part of our routine and our day.
Exactly. And I know that it's a cliche, but most of the time we say that you need like 90 days to get a real habit, like going to the gym to do workout in the morning, or to do yoga, or I don't know, whatever, that you need a few days that become an habit. And I really agree with that. You need 2-3 months that after it's going to be an habit, but before that you really need like to do your homework. You need to work on that, because it's very difficult to do that.
Interesting. Is he bringing any stories to illustrate this paradigm, moving from going with the technology as it is, and getting yourself consumed without focus and the whole day between work and family and stuff? Is there any story that he's bringing to illustrate this issue in the real life?
You mean if he use different examples? You mean
example?
Okay.
Kind of stories or examples that make that really shocking for our way to approach this question.
Yes, exactly. In the first part of the book, Core Newport, before giving some methodology and after the best practices, he starts with some facts about. So he did a lot of tests. So he asked to many people who follow his blog. He has like a mailing list, and he just asked to many people to make a study about who want to do to stop to use technology during 30 days. It's like he named in the book this period, this 30 days. He named it the declutter process. And before going on that, he just asked to the people to measure. So you have different apps, free apps. He asked to the people to measure the time they use on social media, on the web browsing. And when he explained in the book how many hours per week people spend on social media and surfing on the web, it's incredible, Mohammed. Sometimes it is around 12 hours per week or more, because when you check all the time, 10 minutes, it's incredible. And after that, so he have a lot of people who share this data with him, and he explained why when we create the phones at the beginning to replace the MP3 player, and so he just start with a story after he entered on the test with the people. So during a few, I think I don't remember exactly if it's 1 or 2 years. Because he's a professor, so he used studies and data, real data, like a scientific. So he just take different panels around the world, not only in US, in Great Britain too, and he just used different panels to make some tests and to know how many hours the people spent on social media and web surfing. And it's very interesting because it is a lot of hours.
So in average, you say that is around 12 hours a week, something like that?
Yeah, I remember this number. I'm not pretty sure about 12. It is around 10 to 12 hours. Sometimes it's more than, because it's a lot of time, and because you're checking all the time. I think you're checking 10 minutes here, 10 minutes in the morning, after 1 hour after you check 10
Mm-hmm.
minutes, 20 minutes, and it's really crazy. And it just advises to all the readers to do this test, to download the apps and try to, before doing a declutter process, to stop using technology during 30 days, to less technology, during 30 days. He asked to all the readers to do this test. And with this test, you can have an idea how many times you using your phone during a week or a day.
Okay, so those apps are tracking and monitoring your use of the social media and your web browsing. You don't have to
Exactly.
put it manually. It's just tracking your action and your activities there in the phone by itself,
Yes,
right?
it's just to give you an idea about
Okay.
the real data,
Okay.
and just to give you the real numbers.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, yes, and this is the reason. This is one of the reasons I love Call Newport. If all the listener just get a chance and try to listen
Mhm.
aesthetics video, it's very interesting.
Thank you for sharing those insights. And if I understand, he's following kind of academic methodology to bring the statistics in your hand in order to explain the phenomena, in order to
Yeah,
explain the issue as it is.
exactly. So he used, as I said before, so he used the scientifics. He used data. Okay,
Mm,
so he just explained what he's doing. Okay, all the process.
yeah.
After he enter, how he built this argument in his book. You have three different steps. If I can explain, the
Yeah.
first step is to define your technology rules. So the first step of is name it, as I said before, the declutter process, is to
Okay.
define which technologies fall into this category. So it's like you're just going to start to know to make a list. I know it's a process. You're just
Hmm.
making a list of all the application, all the technology you're using. So if you listen a podcast, a radio on your mobile phone, you're going to list all that. So it is the declutter. It is the declutter process. The second step, Mohammed, is
Yeah.
take a 30-day break. It's like a detox experience, and it's
Okay.
very important. It
Hmm.
is just to give yourself a break from technology. This is very important because when you ask that to many, it just have many people who want to do this experience, and it was very interesting because you're going to say to me, oh, people in the technology can do that. No, there are many people in the groups that share
Yeah.
their insights that do this 30-day break. So for this process to succeed, you must also spend this period trying to rediscover what's important to you and what, for example, you enjoy outside the world of the always on, the shiny digital, okay?
Mm.
And after you figure out this out before you begin, after you're going to start to reintroducing technology at the end of this declutter process. And it's very crucial and important. The last step, the step 3, it used to reintroduce technology. So this reintroduction is really more more demanding than you might imagine. And it's like you just need to, after the 30 days, you just need to ask if this technology directly supports something that is very important for you. If this technology is the best way to support your value, your personal value. And and after, you always need to ask if this technology going forward to maximize the value, or it can minimize its harms, okay? And
Okay.
digital minimalists, all the people who practice digital minimalist in the book combat this by maintaining a standard operating procedure that dictate when and how they use those digital tools in their lives, and that's very important. And
Okay.
this
So
is like three
can you
different
say it
steps. Yeah.
again? Can you
Sorry?
see it again, this standard?
Uh,
About this standard that they are using in order to control the digital tools?
yeah. For example, okay, I'm going to give you an example because I'm very passionate about that for many years.
Yeah.
In 2010, I gave a speech at a conference about it was 8 years ago, how you manage your life in a digital noisy world. Okay.
Yeah.
At this time in 2000, I think in 2010, we don't have some apps such WhatsApp, WeChat, and all this stuff. And we're still receiving on Slack too. So we're still receiving like many emails, notifications from Facebook, Twitter, and it was crazy. Now we have many applications, Slack, the web application, and we just need to manage all that. And when I did this pitch, I just share my idea that many productivity guru want do that. They do that. So in this book, he start to use again this idea that you need to have like a framework. What is a framework? A time framework? It is during a certain time, maybe 2 or 3 times per day, you're going to check your emails or your LinkedIn messages only during a period of time, only during two times or 3 times per day.
Okay.
And many guru in productivity do that. And in the book Digital Minimalist, you have some people from technology working in ads agency. They do that. So they try to answer to the email, or they use the social media only 2 or 3 times per day. And the most important thing, and I did that personally 2 or 3 months ago, to do this framework time, to control that, you need to remove all social media application from your phone. You can't do that without that. It's impossible to do that.
Okay.
And when you do that, you can control your access to LinkedIn, Facebook, I don't know, Instagram, Slack, Slack, you can control to GitHub or all those websites when you have only a desktop access.
Yeah.
So it is a way to control that. But in this book, after when we're going to speak about best practices, it's not only controlling the tools in your life. It is you need to cut the technology, and I think it's the most difficult part, and it's really difficult for many people. People who experience that in the book, it's really difficult. It's good that you can just control the time the time you use the social media website you're browsing, but it's very difficult to cut the technology during a certain time during the week or the month.
Yeah, especially if we are getting used to it, and our kind of event during the day depend on those checking who sent me the message,
exactly,
and how I can reply, and this urge that we have in our life just coming, and we are getting used to it. Oh, I need to reply right away, and I need to get back to so and so for this request. So that's that we lost ourselves in this reactivity of the technology kind of messages and texting and things like that.
I 100% agree with you, Mohammed. And what I think the most important, so yes, you have a methodology to start, but what is really great, and in this book it is not only that, as you said, because it's like we're losing our soul with all this technology. What really affected me in the book, and it's very interesting, all the people who are listening to this podcast need really to try to do that. In the practice part of the book, like in his previous book, Cole Newport explained some practices to follow that are very important. Firstly, you need to spend time alone, because solitude is really about what's happening in your brain, okay? Not the environment around you. Why it is important to practice, to spend time alone? Why solitude is really important? Because solitude is the only way your mind is left to grapple only with its own thoughts, okay? And solitude really requires you to move past reacting to information created by other people, especially on social media, and focus inside on your own thoughts, on your experiences, wherever you happen to be. And I read many books about that, Buddhist books and all that, and medical books about that. You really need to have solitude to think about you, inside you. And by practicing spending time alone, as suggested Cole Newport, you can have the time for you just to think, oh, what's happened to me with all these projects.
Yeah.
Take just one step backward, okay? And it's very important.
So that's very important point you raised here. It's kind of prerequisite of this process is to get in the process of knowing yourself, knowing how you are dealing with those stimulus in your life, and how you can resist them and how you can control yourself. It starts from there. Then the process comes as handy for you to walk you through the stages in order to make it kind of coming true.
Yeah, you're right. One other, I think, one other really practice that you need to do is as far as I'm concerned, it's really difficult to do that. It is maybe my next step this month. It is Cole Newport suggests you to leave your phone at home, and he really insists on that because you really recommend that we try to spend some time away from your phone most days. I know it can be difficult if you have a family, if you have kids, or if you have responsibility, but you need just to share that with your wife, or I don't know, with your family. And succeeding with this strategy requires that you abandon the belief, really, that not having your phone is a crisis. And it's very important to understand that. And this practice is not about really not getting rid of your phone, but most of the time it's like, just take the time to have no technology with you. And when you leave your phone at home, it's like your mind is very clear during a certain hours, during maybe one day, but it's really important to do that. And the last, the last practice that he explained in the book, it's really surprising. It is just, you need to take long walks. And I just take a note about, he wrote a quote from Nietzsche.
Yeah.
And it is, just listen, only toughs reach by walking a value. And it's very interesting because he just used many examples, and Nietzsche began to work up 8 hours a day. And during these walks, he will think, eventually filling small notebooks with him.
Yeah.
And he became the wanderer and his shadow. And Cole Newport explained that he did that, I think, for a few years. And it's the way he just explained that all the ideas of his books are in the notebooks he took with him during these long walks. And the key property of walking, it's really a fantastic source of solitude, because he just advised that on a regular basis, we just need to go for long walks with no phone, with no notification, with nothing. And with that, we just, and it just advises to not wearing headphones or monitoring any text message chain or nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's really hard to do that, but we need to do that. We need to do that if we can do that weekly. And it is like, as I say, I said in the beginning of this podcast, it is the digital Shabbat. And it is really, digital Shabbat is really a trend, I think for 3 or 4 years, especially in the Silicon Valley. I just take a look on many articles and videos that people in the technology they really do like a technological Shabbat. One time per month, they just took 2 or 3 days and they go outside the city and they travel without any phone. It is a kind of meditation retreat for 3 days. Or we have some retreat for 1 week, but it's just 2 or 3 days. And I just have an example of a really funny story that a couple just go to the airport in San Francisco and they just put their mobile phone in a box. The man gave the phone to his wife, and they put all the 2 mobile phones in a box, and they close the box and they take with them. It's crazy, but I know it's intense, but just think about that.
Yeah. It's just this wonder that we used to live with. It doesn't. It's hard. It's hard to face it and to say stop it. I don't want this wonder anymore. I can control it. I can go beyond that. That's really interesting. That's a stimulating idea.
Yeah, and I can finish just Mohammed with the last practice, because I just for all the listener, Really, I tried to practice for a few weeks, months, and it really helped me a lot. You can't imagine. In the last part, in the second part of the book about the best practice, it just used the argument that you need to write letters to yourself. So every time you need to start, for example, a new Moleskine notebook, okay? And you start to writing something about a letter to yourself. To encouraging you, to composing your thoughts, to structured your write and prose, and you're going to have really real benefits about that, because it's like you are in a solitude and you are facing yourself, okay?
Yeah.
And the loss of social connection going to help you to be with you, to know you more, to know your emotions, and to stop to be distracted and to concentrate on you. And it's incredible. When you start to do that, it's really incredible.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, incredible.
It's like you're talking to yourself as somebody else.
Yeah, and this practice to write letters, writing when you have some emotion. I just have this habit from a very old friend. He was an alcoholic for more than 15 years, okay, and he stopped from 15 years to drink alcohol, okay. And every time he gets an emotion, he writes on the computer. He writes every time, and it's very important. And many people who were alcoholic or drug addict, and just go outside all this stuff. Just do that. Just solve that. When you write your emotions, you don't going to drink alcohol. So you concentrate on that. Yes, you can go to the sports or to speak with someone, but when you write your emotions on paper, on the notebook with you, it's the better way it's the better way not to control your emotion. You need to let your emotion arrive, because it's normal. But you can express them on a paper. You can sort them. You just keep your emotion inside you. And many times in the book, Cole Newport advises to have a few notebooks with us and to write.
That's interesting. That's it. That's kind of a journey to see yourself, to see the other in yourself, like your shadow, and to handle it and to give shape of whatever is feeling, so you can handle them and control them, and don't leave them embedded in your body, so you cannot even have the shape of them or taking any control of them.
Mhm.
So it's if I understand it well, this message of the book, it's going to handle through a process and steps and tools, how you can control the technology to get into the bottom, how you can control or discover yourself as first step in order to control it and transform it in terms of removing the wonder, getting into the focus, controlling what you want to do and what you don't want to do, and having this life of transformation and getting closer to yourself by having the tools and be equipped in your journey.
Exactly, exactly, and it's very interesting because you have different ways to do that, but you need to start with that, and it's a real effort. It's really difficult to do that, and I think that with this last example I use, you need to write.
Yeah.
Yes, you can discuss, you can do meditation. It's great to go inside you, but you need to, when something happened to you about your emotions, you need to take time to write your emotions. It's very important if you want to grow, if you want to progress. And by writing your emotion, it's very easy to not control yourself, but just to understand yourself. For example, in a business context, in many projects where you have many, you can have issues, you can have tensions between people.
Yeah.
And you need to understand, it can happen, but I don't know, if one time you are angry or you disagree with someone, and after, I don't know, when you come back at home and you are not good and you are angry, you're not angry about someone at the job, but you can be angry because you have some personal problems with the family, at home, but you can have some emotion because it comes from your childhood, it can come from your education. You have many reasons why it is emotion. But by doing that, you can have a look on this emotion, why it's happened, when it's happened, and but you can't do that when you check notification every time. And it's impossible with all this notification during the evening and all this stuff. It's impossible to do that. And by controlling the technology and return to your life, and to discuss with real people in real life, have a dinner or eating something, grabbing a coffee without any phone near you. It's very important. You can have a very interesting or crucial conversation with someone.
Exact. And
this is very important.
Yeah, and we find it in our days when you are talking to kind of somebody and he's busy with his phone or something like that.
It's crazy.
You can't entertain that discussion further. It's like it's killing the whole process of getting connected and expressing what you could do or getting anywhere.
Listen, Mohammed, last week I have two great dinners with two friends. And I had some dinner during 2 or 3 hours, 2 or 3 hours of discussion, intense discussion, crucial conversation. And during these two dinners, I just put my phone was in the bag.
Exactly.
And I just take this example because you need to. I am like you. I'm in the technology for 15 years, and we really need to control it. It's just yes, it's communication tools, but it's just tool. So it's important to have and with all the social media, all this social media era,
Yeah.
It's important not to spend the time online. Yes, we spend time online during the day at the office or many projects, but it's important to, when you stop the phone during the other time, it's important to have a dinner, to do an activity with someone, to do, I don't know, anytime, hiking, to do sailing, I don't know, any activity. And it's the reason I 100% agree with Connie. You really need to put your phone outside you to let the phone outside, really very far from you. And it's important for your brain or for your health, for your self-care too.
Yeah, exact. And you say it well. It's like you need to control some actions, at least by removing the tools from your accessibility area.
Exactly.
Like your phone, remove it from your accessibility. If you are getting home with your family in the evening, like
and
why you are getting from work to home in order to keep looking at your screen and ignoring your kids around you, your wife or spouse or whoever is with you in the family, and not getting that connection, not getting with this kind of reconciliation about what's happening in the family, what's happening as feeling with oneself, what's happening in the world of your kids as thinking or as feeling or emotions or whatever. It's like you need to be aware, you need to be connected with your entourage if you get into any family kind of at least relationship or friend relationship or group relationship or even work relationship. Nowadays you can see people are working and in the same time they are slacking, at the same time they are texting. It's like wow. And people are driving and the same time they are talking and the same time they are texting. Wow, it's too much. It's too much. That's you really highlighted very well, kind of.
And you know all that except by connecting with some people, and after you do some projects, it's great. But all this time, you learn nothing from that. Nothing. With the time you for me, the time you lose, you do nothing for your family, for you, for your business, listen, you don't read, you stop to read, you lose your time. It's really, you lose the time with your family. It's bringing you nothing for me. And just have a distance with that. It's not important. Except except your work, your clients, but it's not important. It's just some tools. So you need to keep away from the technology, and yes, you need to put sometimes your phone on the table or at your home. Because personally, it's my next step to put the phone during one day. It's easy for me to put outside on the table during a lot of hours, but I'm going to go outside, and after maybe this weekend, I'm going to go outside and put it, let the phone at home.
Somewhere,
somewhere.
That's interesting. So you wrap up really nicely what type of action that leaders need to embrace, starting from this controlling the accessibility to the technology, starting from having some notebooks in order to get connected with oneself, or in order to get connected with your entourage. If it's something triggering your mind or stimulating your thinking, you have your notebook around, so you can spend some time to write it and to shape it a little bit. So you really kind of highlighted this type of tips and processes that we need to get embedded in our life to control this kind of technology consumption of our
Yes, Mohammed. And what is very interesting when if we can take the key elements for that a leader needs to embrace, okay, to move forward.
Yeah.
Yes, I take some example about our personal lives, but you're going to ask me how a leader who is very busy going to adopt all these practices, these best practices. So what is very interesting with Cole Newport, so it's just, yes, it's real ideas that he took from some people who follow, who try to do this digital minimalism, new way of life, okay? And for example, if we put our shoes in a leader position like a CEO, okay?
Yeah.
And you don't have enough time, okay? There is a very interesting example in the book about someone who is very busy, a CEO. I don't remember the name.
Okay.
How he going to manage because he is busy all the day. Okay, with a lot of meetings, a lot of duties to do in the company, and how he going to manage the communication with the other people. So there is a best practice. It is like that Cole Newport share. It is to hold conversation office hour. So I'm going to explain that. For example, if you can get past the inconvenience of placing or receiving phone calls by letting everyone know you're always available at a certain time. So a CEO can just say that that during his evening commute home, he just share with all the people that you can call me in the 5:30 rule, or like you can call me immediately after dinner. So you can call me at 7 p.m. It's like the 7 p.m. rule. So for example, you just going to share that. Okay, you just have a message. If you can, anybody can call me from 5:30 to 6:30, for example, and he's just going to take the calls during his during his evening commuting home. Okay.
Okay.
So when someone send him a text message or a DM, a direct message, he suggests the call you or meet him during the this time. Okay.
Okay.
So it's like a way to control your time.
Yeah.
And it is another way to stop to having exchange. So it just suggests, Cole Newport suggests that instead of having many emails, many Slacks communication, just make a call. So you just share that on your email signature that you can you are available for calling from this during 1 hour or 2 hours. It's interesting. It's like a tip. Yeah.
It is. It is very interesting because you are helping yourself to do this digital minimalism as control, but in the same time without breaking the social rule that your relationship with other people or the relationship of your professional world kind of thing.
It's the communication. Yeah.
Exact. No, that's very interesting. At least you need the environment to work with you in this control. You are not just disconnecting yourself and you don't care. No, we care, and we put the rule and we put whatever setting is needed. So we make other people aware about what we are when we are receiving the calls and when we are kind of talking and discussing through the technology. And at the same time, we have full stop when we are not using that technology. So we are allowing the other activities to happen in our life. That's very interesting. It's a sense of responsibility while you are doing the transformation in your life. It's not you are getting rid of responsibility. No, you are embracing the responsibility while you are transforming your lifestyle and your technology-free time that you want to embed in your life. That's interesting.
That's very interesting, and it's not something new because if I remember, in Tim Ferriss' book, I don't remember. It is the 4-hour week. I don't remember. It's the 4-hour work week. He just shared the same thing. He shared the idea. For example, Tim Ferriss advised that you need, it's not a new idea, it is from Tim Ferriss and many productivity gurus, that, like I said before, that you need to answer to your emails or communication during 2 or 3 times during the day, okay? And he advised to not do that, you're not going to do that on your part. So you're going to do that, you can add it on your signature, but you're going to share it with your customer or clients. So there is like an elegant way to express that. So I am here for you. I don't remember the messages. So it's just a template messages. So I'm here to help you at my best, but to manage my productivity and to do the best job, I always reply during 2 times. And it's very interesting. Me as a digital product owner, so I need to manage many projects in agile methodology, and I receive many emails, Jira notifications, and when I need to communicate how I work. So if I work, I answer to all the emails, I do all the follow-up, even if I have 100 follow-up to do. But I just explained that I'm going to answer you only during 2 or 3 times during the day. During the other day, I'm working. I do some stuff. I need to do some stuff. So it's very important with this, all these advices, these fixes, all these tips to communicate with other people, with your colleagues, with your stakeholders. It's essential to communicate how you work, how you do that, why you decide to use this framework time, because you're not working alone. You're working with a team with many other professionals, people, and you need to explain why you do that, how you do that.
That's interesting point. So and coming to the end of this podcast, I would like to hear from you any final words or any personal kind of experience that you want to share, or something just to close the session of today.
Yeah, thank you, Mohammed. As I said at the beginning of the podcast, Cole Newport was not a revelation, but it just it's incredible. The insight that he shared in his book, and so I try to follow some advices, and after, what is incredible is I share that with you, with many people at the office and some friends, and I just realized that something that can be very how can I say that, not absurd but weird, because in this book he speak about the importance to have like a seasonal plan. You know what is a seasonal plan? It is that you stop every month, every 2 months, you take 1 or 2 days off, okay? And you're going to do a self-reflection alone. And I just do that for 4 months, and it really changed my life, because I stop every 2 months. I take 1 or 2 days off during the week, and I do a self-reflection about my personal life, about professional life, and after I do adjustments.
That's very interesting.
Yes, and really it changed. We are like in a bubble. We are in a bubble very fast, and we really need to take the time to do that. And as a conclusion, I really advise all the listeners and all the people to not be afraid to go outside your comfort zone. And it's not, yes, I know it's a cliche, but it's very important to. You don't need to do all these advices. Just try one. Just next week, just try one. And believe me, it's going to change your life. Just by changing one habit, it's going to change your life. But you need to try one.
Exact. You need to start by something.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah.
It was really insightful, and and you give us all your insight or mixed with the deep work that the author present in his book. And it's very exciting to get to the book, and we encourage everybody here in the podcast to go back to the book and to grasp as more as you can from those tips and suggestions. We would like you to join our podcast and to spread the word around this podcast, LTC Book Club podcast. It's available on Google Podcast and iTunes Podcast. And see you next time. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.